welcome back to another episode of the Social Spectrum podcast. I'm so glad you could join us again. And if you tuned in last week, you'll remember we had a really meaningful conversation with Saffron about the importance of breaking down stereotypes around neurodivergence. So, we spoke about for how many years neurodivergent individuals they often go through so many different types of therapy and support programs to help them navigate a world which wasn't always built for them, and how equally important it is that we take time to educate neurotypical people, because inclusion isn't just about changing the person, it's about changing the environment and the attitudes around them too. So today we're going to continue that conversation with Saffron. Saffron, thank you for being here again. I'm so excited to pick up where we left off.
Could you share a moment where you felt misunderstood and what you wish others knew in that situation? Was there any personal moment which you'd like to share?
One, well, I feel like I've had a lot of moments of misunderstanding over the years, especially just being, it took me so long to get to this autism diagnosis, and instead I had like heaps of other diagnoses along the way, suggestions, all sorts. So it felt like in that way I've been misunderstood for a lot of my life. And it would have been helpful if I wasn't, because I could have gotten the help and support I needed earlier. But one specific moment was actually the first time. So I'd been diagnosed with ADHD from multiple psychologists, but my doctor was looking at starting medication with me. And for that, you need to get a diagnosis from a psychiatrist and for them to give permission to your doctor to prescribe. And so I met with this psychiatrist a couple years ago, and it was online. And at halfway through the hour-long assessment, she basically said to me, "It seems like you could have ADHD, but you're not struggling enough to be able to be diagnosed with it." Um, and that was awful. It was incredibly ironic because actually on the Zoom call, I was crying and yelling, and I actually ended the call early because I was so angry. So I think that does show that I was struggling. I don't know what else that shows, but
Mhm.
also it's hard that people should be struggling to get the help they need. I think you shouldn't have to struggle with your autism or your ADHD or whatever mental health or physical health condition you have. You shouldn't have to struggle to get the help. You should
Yeah,
be able to get help before you're there, before you're at the low points like that.
right.
Um, and it was really invalidating as well in that moment. It took me another year until I was willing to meet with a different psychiatrist to try again, because I just felt like completely disbelieved and invalidated through that experience.
It's tough, and that coming from a psychiatrist as well.
Definitely.
Mm. Sorry you had to go through that.
Thank you. It was rough, but yeah, hopefully just unfortunately, I think a lot of people have similar experiences, and hopefully
Yeah,
just talking about it, it can
yeah.
a
I
lot of
know.
people not
I'm,
okay.
yeah.
Um,
Coming from people who are not educated about it, even then it's not okay, but it's like, okay, they don't have that education, they don't have the awareness. But coming from a trained, like a health professional, that is like, that can feel awful.
yeah, and I think that's part of where the diagnosis process isn't always very good, because I'd been working with my doctor and a couple of different psychologists for quite long term before then, and they had all individually agreed that I had ADHD. They knew me a lot better.
Mhm.
But the fact that to get an official diagnosis in Australia, you have to have a 1 hour interview with a psychiatrist who doesn't know you at all.
Yeah.
I think that's not a great setup for
Mm.
a diagnosis because they don't know you.
Yeah.
How can they diagnose you with a life-changing condition?
Right.
Uh, Whereas these other medical professionals did know me and they were the ones who suggested it. Um, but yeah, it just felt really invalidating at that time.
Sure, it would have. Um, and okay, so what advice would you give to someone who's new on the app? Or
The advice I would give to someone who's new on the Social Spectrum app is to just explore and engage as much as possible on the app. So explore all the different features, join whichever groups or forums you feel you best suit to, or even if you don't exactly suit, you can still connect with people and learn from their experiences through it.
yeah,
And keep an eye on the events and the news,
yeah,
um, stay up to date, really. But I would just say explore,
yeah.
don't hold back, because
And
there's no reason to. Yeah, you can learn more.
I think not just join the groups, you can even create your own groups there,
Yeah,
create your own
exactly.
events. Yeah.
Yeah, just have a bit of fun figuring out what you can do and then take it as far as you feel
Yeah.
comfortable.
And if you could tell the world one thing about neurodiversity, what would it be?
I would remind the world that the reasons humans have evolved so well is because of all the differences we have. And that's very, very important for our survival and our evolution. And that's why we are able to have such amazing technology and advances and all sorts of things like that. And one important part of diversity is neurodiversity. And
Mm.
neurodiversity is very important because we need different minds. We need people who think different ways. If we all thought the same thing, we would do nothing and create nothing. So I think it's important to remember that actually neurodiversity and neurodivergent conditions are not something bad or to look down upon. It's actually just very natural diversity in our minds and how we think. And it's actually very important for evolution, survival, and innovation.
That's such a beautiful thought. That's so nice. I might just even use this for one of my posts on
Oh,
Instagram.
that would be great. I'd love to see what
Yeah.
you do with it.
No, this is really nice. Like, yeah. It's the truth. Like, how have humans evolved? It's because of our differences. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's beautiful. And yeah, just coming to the last question, like what kind of events or support would you love to see more in social spectrum? I think I have a fair idea, like you mentioned, to meet more, but do you have any particular kind of events in mind?
Yeah, I think it would be great to see a range of events. Definitely a bunch of events that are focused on socializing and meeting people and just being in a comfortable environment where everyone can talk to each other and learn and move at their own pace. But I
Yeah.
also think it could be cool if at some point there were more sort of workshops, maybe
Okay. Yeah.
on different topics, whether that be like a workshop for supporting parents of neurodivergent kids, or if it's a workshop for, um, I don't know, hosted by an OT about learning how to work with your sensory sensitivities for autistic people, or
Yeah.
anything really like that could also be a good opportunity because I feel like an event like that, people would be learning, but they would also be socializing and
Yeah.
meeting something new. So it would be like a good balance of two worlds, I suppose.
That's very interesting. I was speaking to one of the OT therapists the other day, and we are planning a kind of two workshops. One is online, and one would be in person, where we're going to be talking about handling like sensory sensibilities. So I'm glad
Yeah,
that you
that's
brought
really
that up
cool.
as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. I mean, this has been really, really enriching, even for me. Like to hear your perspective. What are you planning to do in the future? Like, do you have what do you aim to
Well,
or do?
actually, yeah, I've going through all of this myself has like really made me think about a lot of new different things and really put me down a path of now wanting to advocate and share my
Mm,
story
yeah,
with other people.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel really nice talking to you, and I believe
I
that
feel the
we
same.
we meet someone for a reason, and yeah, I get that strong connection with you. And
Yeah,
it,
I feel like even though this is an interview. I've actually just enjoyed it as a conversation as well. Like it's been, yeah, really, really cool. And I really like that there are people like you out starting up stuff and advocating.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I feel really like honored knowing you as well, that you've been through so much, but you were one of the first people who connected. You downloaded the app. You're one of the first people who agreed for the this interview, and you're just out there because I see so many people not willing to talk about it. They're not. Of course, they have their own reasons. I'm not saying that everyone should have that kind of courage or confidence. Everyone's going through their own thing, but I really
Yeah.
appreciate that you have that courage and strength to talk about everything. So really
Yeah. That's
agree
what
with that.
I thought the day I got my diagnosis. I was like, what the hell? I'm just going to talk about it and
Yep.
say, because I just think people do have such an idea of what autism looks like. And it's like, well, if I just say proudly and openly,
Yep. Yep.
um, it's already helping shift people's mental
Right.
ideas of what that looks like. Yeah. And it's for me, like, it's been a wonderful diagnosis
Yeah.
because I've had so many other struggles.
Yeah.
This is like the one at the end, Um, and it's finally like my answer and my validation. So,
Yeah.
me, it was a wonderful moment to receive the diagnosis, and I thought, well, if I'm so happy, I want other people to be happy for me as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great take on it. And that's how I feel as well. Initially, when I got my son's diagnosis, I didn't know much then about it. And when I started doing the research and everything, and from that, I mean, it took me some time as well to adjust to it. But I was also clear at that time that it's no one's fault. Why should it be treated as it's a bad thing? And everyone, my son should be proud of it. We are proud of it because there are so many. He has such a unique brain. He looks at the world differently, and he's so smart. He's so intelligent. We should, you know, play to his strengths, whatever strength you have. So
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, great. So great, Saffron. It was lovely speaking to you.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of the Social Spectrum podcast. Saffron, thank you again so much for joining us and sharing your insights. These conversations are so important, and it's through chats like these that we can start to shift perspectives and build a truly inclusive community. So, to everyone listening, thank you for tuning in and being part of this journey with us. Remember, creating a more understanding and accepting world isn't about grand gestures, it's about those small everyday moments where we choose to listen, learn, and show kindness. So, we'll be back next week with another episode diving into more stories, insights, and perspectives from our incredible community. Until then, take care, stay kind, and remember navigating neurodiversity together.